I think it'd be fun for the community. Be like, okay, here's our Blue Lock U20 bingo.
This is a good one, yeah. Isagi misses a penalty.
I don't think Isagi would ever be the one to take a penalty. His stuff is he is direct shooting. That's it. Like he needs a pass incoming to make the shot. His entire weapon of direct shooting is the fact that he can make shots at the speed that no one can catch up to the future that he's predicted. That's literally why he says he uses direct shots. Isagi's base standard shooting is ass. I would rather have Kunigami, Bato, Yukimiya, Reo, Rin, Shigiri. Like those are all way better scorers than Isagi from a planted position.
I don't know. I think
even Kiora is better because his passes accelerate the closer they get to the keeper. It'll start slow and then ramp the fuck up.
I will be great penalties, personally.
Why? What evidence though?
Because Isagi's got good accuracy, and he's actually a good he's got good ball striking. Even
using direct shots, but the reason he's good at that is because he catches up to a future no one else can.
But the thing with if he's able to do a direct shot, he's definitely able to do a dead ball.
Yes, but the whole he's average at dead balls though. That's the thing is that he's average at this. Take someone who's above average. Like Bato has Predator Eye for shooting. Kunigami has just straight power shots. Those are better.
I can understand. Like there's definitely people that are actually better than Isagi when it comes to striking the ball, and would be better candidates to take the penalty ahead of Isagi for sure. But I don't think Isagi's gonna be bad at penalties though.
Yeah, but why would you say Isagi takes the penalty when you have so many other strikers who are better though?
I'm not saying Isagi takes the penalty. But he said that in his bingo card it's just Isagi misses a penalty.
So he takes the penalty and he misses the shot.
But it could be from a shootout.
Still misses a penalty.
So why would you take Isagi for a shootout? What's it, 5 people for a shootout?
Yeah, of course Isagi's
Bato, Rin, Yukimiya, Shigiri, Kunigami.
No,
that's my 5.
You're not putting Shigiri above Isagi in a shootout.
Yes, I am!
Nah.
Shigiri has consistently hit top bins every time.
That's cool, but Isagi hits top bins on a volley.
That's because that's what he's good at. Direct shooting. Exactly. Planted balls he's not good at.
But we don't know that because we've not really...
I can give you evidence.
I'd have to see it because I've not seen him flop.
The last time we had a dead ball that goes off the top of my head is second selection or the 100 goals challenge, and he planted the ball and he sucked at it. First stage, he got the ball, he couldn't score. Sure, it's definitely improved training for Isagi, but that doesn't change the fact that he's training in direct shots.
I've not seen evidence of him being bad at dead balls.
Here you go. Here's evidence. I'll send it to the general chat.
Give it to Sengoat.
Yeah.
Honestly, anyone with Predator Eye is better than Isagi. Yeah, your 3 Predator Eye users in Rin, Bato, Yukimiya, they're locked in. They have to be.
Yeah.
And then Kunigami, power shooting, insane.
Yeah, I would have.
And then I would take Shigiri.
I wouldn't, personally.
The reason I take Shigiri is because you could argue that they're relative in terms of dead ball skill. But the thing is, Shigiri can perfectly hit top corner every single time because that's what he was trained to do. Isagi wasn't trained to hit top corner. Isagi was just training to hit direct shots better. So Shigiri's consistently hitting top bins. He will consistently hit top corner. Isagi's going to hit wherever. No, that top corner is going to be the best spot to hit.
If you actually look at Isagi's shots, they tend to go top corner every single time.
No, they don't.
No, they do. Isagi shoots at top corners most of the time.
Let's go 223. They're hitting dead center of the net. Go check general chat.
Yeah, I'm checking.
There's Isagi's Demon King. That's center.
That's not center.
That's center.
We can see the corner.
The corner's all the way on the other side. He'd go all the way to the right. Like something like Yuki Miya hits corner.
It's
That's
not.
closer to the center.
Look at where the goalkeeper's diving. We don't see the trajectory line of the football here, but look at where the goalkeeper dives. He's diving top corner to try.
Even
and stop
then,
it.
it's off a direct shot.
Yeah,
The whole reason he's good, his direct shots work is because he goes to a future no one else can, so he uses the direct shot so they cannot catch up. That's the whole reason direct shots are his thing.
I hear that. That's his formula for scoring a goal, but that's not to say he can't score a dead ball.
But why would you put him to score the dead ball?
I mean, if it's a shootout, I'm having one of my bagsmen take a penalty, and Isagi is one of the bagsmen.
No, you take the people with the best shooting skill. Isagi doesn't have the best shooting skill when it's a planted ball, as comparison to other strikers who do.
I don't know, man. I would personally, I would have him personally, because if a guy can hit a top corner on a volley the way he can.
Okay, hold up. Who's top 20? Actually, no. Over Chiggity, put Rayo. Put Rayo in there. He can copy.
Rayo scored one goal in the whole series, bro.
But Rayo is going to copy the top 23, meaning he can copy anybody any of the previous shooting techniques, meaning any of Reen's curve shots, any of Reen's Trivela shots, Yuki Miya's gyro shot, and sword screw, right? Not Botto's stealth kill shot, because stealth kill shot's situational, but that middle shot where he's hitting top right corner every time, he can copy that.
I think Isagi is a solid shout for a penalty.
Not more than Rayo, who has the diversity. You're gonna play. You're telling me you're gonna play Isagi, a character who's only been known to hit direct shots, versus Rayo, a character who's known to hit shots of multiple different kinds. If you're a goalkeeper, I'd be more afraid of someone who has more diversity in the arsenal of the kind of shot they can take than Isagi.
A character that's known to score goals over Rayo.
You have to look at the context and where the goal is, how the goal scored. A direct shot versus a dead ball.
Wait. I have a question for you. You said it's people who score goals. Would you have Bachira take a penalty?
I would have Bachira take a penalty over Rayo.
What? No, why?
Because I've seen Bachira score goals. I've not seen Rayo score goals.
Hold on.
Rayo scored a goal in the NEL.
Yeah, I know.
Hold on. This is my time. Bachira's goals have been have been seen to be shots with not a lot of power in them.
They're chip shots. They're chips.
Yeah, they're literally not a lot of power in his shots. Unless you're going to be an absolute.
What shot have we seen from Rayo that has power in it as well? Because
Reen's Trivela.
What? But he missed that. He didn't score it.
Because it's Gagamaru, the best goalkeeper in the series. He would have scored top corner.
Bro, he didn't score it. Gagamaru said it was a cheap imitation, bro. Am I wrong?
No, you're wrong. He didn't say it was a cheap imitation.
He did.
He just said Reen's was better.
He said
that doesn't mean anything. That he's still 99%. Okay, 100% versus 99%. 99% is still worse than 100%, but that doesn't make 99% bad.
But Gagamaru said it was bad.
He didn't. He said Reen's was better. That doesn't make Rayo's bad. That makes Reen's better.
Well, maybe I'm making.
Is Isagi bad because Reen is better? Is Isagi bad because Reen is better?
No. No.
Am I having a stroke here?
But Rayo did not score that goal. It wasn't a goal.
Doesn't matter. It doesn't make the shot bad.
Because Dedu's argument was, I've only seen Bachira score weak shots, right? And my argument is, but you can say the same for Rayo then.
What's like weak shots? Rayo has not scored weak shots.
Rayo hasn't taken a weak shot.
But also, you're also.
Oh my days!
You're
so
also.
What goal did Rayo score that was a strong shot?
I would say the goal he scored against FC Barca. That's a decently powerful shot.
Why is that compared to anything that Bachira has done? Why?
Because Bachira is taking chip shots. Because Bachira is taking chip shots right against the goalie's ass.
I'm pretty sure he didn't take it.
That's four. That's four asses.
In that very game against Nagi, Bachira's first goal was that chip shot.
Let me pull up the panel. I can't tell you exactly when did he score 295.
It'll
No,
be
he
two
scored
before Nagilaka.
296.
98.
Botcha. That's the one Botcha non-chip shot. That's the
But
one non-Botcha.
that's my point. If the argument's gonna be that, but
But what?
if you're gonna debunk Bachira because of that, you also have to debunk Rayo for the same thing.
Okay, but you're looking. Okay, but you're also, even if his shots are weaker than standard like Rain or Kunigami, you're adding the element of diversity. Is the thing, right? I would be more scared of someone who can hit 6 different kinds of shots than than someone who can hit one kind of shot.
Bruce Lee said the opposite.
Mother of cheese.
Yeah, but that's in fucking fighting. This isn't. If I'm a goalkeeper and I know I'm versing someone, I've played goalkeeper and I'm going up against someone who only knows how to hit strong power shots, right?
Yeah,
I'm gonna be aware for power. I'm gonna be moving in a way that I'm going to block a power shot. If I'm going against someone who can hit 6 different kinds of shots, I'm gonna be way more nervous because I don't know what kind of shot they're gonna take until they do it.
But that's cool. But the whole thing about the fact that he only hits power shots is he's always scoring those power shots.
But I'm aware and I'm going to be prepared for a power shot.
But you're not gonna say.
The thing is, this is a statement from Bruce Lee.
Bruce Lee, yeah.
Yeah. I fear a man who has practiced one kick 1,000 times than a man who practiced 1,000 kicks once.
Yeah.
Even if you have like one move, it's one move that you've refined again and again and again. And
that's fine. But even then, an FC Barca goalkeeper was able to stop Kunigami. Like, that's cool, but diversity in your arsenal is what makes you a good character.
I hear that.
You can't simply coast on one ability your entire time.
No,
that's the entire point of evolution.
But I would agree more if it bore fruits in front of our eyes. But we've never seen it yet.
Okay, can you give me any evidence? Can you give me any evidence to lead to saying that Rayo shots are weak? Any evidence?
But I didn't say they are. That's the thing. I didn't say they are. But I said if you're gonna call Bachira shots weak, you have to call Rayo shots weak as well.
No, you don't, because Rayo has legitimately Rayo legitimately went through 50 days of strength training.
They're on. Yeah, but we don't know the results of that.
We do.
So what is?
I have specific wording from Isagi saying that his physique has leveled up drastically.
Cool. His physique has leveled up drastically. What's that got to do with his shooting?
What?
They apply strength training.
We've not been shown that. My point is, go.
Wait, Raito.
Give me the evidence.
Keep rage baiting.
Yeah, no, right. I have a question. I have a question. Who are the strongest shooters in Blue Lock?
Me? To me?
No, Raito. Who are the strongest shooters in Blue Lock?
Kunigami for sure.
Okay, who's second?
Another.
Okay. Those top 2. What is the one thing they have in common?
Physique.
There it is.
Right. Who said that Rayo's physique's on par with theirs?
But that doesn't mean that he's not a strong shooter.
No, but how can you say the thing that they've got in common is strong physique, but then Rayo's, we don't actually know if Rayo's physique is on par with theirs. So how can
we're not saying he's on par with them. We're just saying Rayo is a physically good, like a physically strong character. He's literally went through 50 days of legitimate strength training.
Okay.
To become a player who has individualized talent.
Mm-hmm.
That's evidence to say that Rayo's physique has leveled up from his previous experience, because even Isagi said that he could not overpower him at all.
But
he was holding him back.
Not a strong player though.
Yeah, but Isagi before was able to compete with Rayo. So now the fact that Isagi can't budge him at all shows a drastic increase in strength, right? Because in the match against Rain, Isagi went up against Rain. He couldn't budge him at all. That still says that Rain is a physically stronger player than Isagi and still has some physical dominance.
Mm-hmm.
So the same applies to Rayo then.
Cool. Tokimitsu is also a physically stronger.
But we're not using him for the argument of taking a shot of a shooter. He's also not in the fucking top 23 team, which is the argument we're making.
But would you have Tokimitsu take the penalty over Isagi because he's physically stronger than him?
Nah, his composure's crap.
But
that's composure.
Listen, I've seen Reo score a total of 2 goals in Blue Lock. I'm sorry, but I'm not putting him above Isagi yet.
He scored like
2 goals.
No, I'm thinking he scored 9 total. No, yeah, 9. 9 that I know of.
Seen. I'm saying I've seen him score 2 goals in the totality of Blue Lock.
I'm telling you, he scored 9. Look at the episode Nagi manga. He scored 9 goals. We've seen him score 9.
Okay, cool. I've seen Isagi score more.
How many has Isagi actually scored? Hold up, I'm thinking.
Way more.
2 in the.
Oh, we're going to do that. I'm going to drop a science bomb because why the hell not? So basically, Newton's third law states that the amount of force that a object can withstand directly reflects the amount of force that said object can exert. So we've got Reo and Isagi who were physically roughly on par before the NEL, as Aero stated. And then we've got during the Bastard versus Manshine match that Reo now completely physically outclasses him and Isagi can't, budge him at all. Which means the amount of force that Isagi is applying onto Reo's body to try and move him is no longer enough. Mm-hmm. So based on Newton's third law, the amount of force which Reo can take has now increased, which means via the law and by default, Reo can now also exert the exact same amount of force which he can now additionally take. Consequently, that means that his shots are now just as powerful by the same numerical value due to the amount of force he can exert. Which means by default, Reo has powerful shots.
Oh, also,
shot
by the way,
everything in
the official wording from Gagamaru says, Isagi says that's Rin's outside spin shot, and Gagamaru says, no, Rin's is even more amazing, implying that Reo's shot is still an amazing goal and a good goal. It's still shooting technique. It's still a strong and good shooting technique. Rin's is just outclassing it and is still by far better.
Yeah, but it didn't go in. I don't really care.
That doesn't make a fucking difference.
I don't care about that because it didn't go in.
So if a player hits a shot,
that doesn't mean shit.
There's so many players have taken.
Okay, show me a goal that Isagi. Show me a goal that Isagi has scored from a stationary ball.
There isn't one. But there isn't one that Reo's done either.
Reo scored a gyro shot, and he scored after copying a Toya.
Stationary.
I mean, to fair, the ball for the
it's not from stationary.
Yeah, but Isagi's hitting volley shots. In-air volley shots. That's not the same as what Reo's doing, where he dribbles and then takes the shot.
Volley is a harder technique than the shot that you
But the reason he's good at volleys, he's good at volleys because he only trains to do volleys. When you put him in the standing, the ball sits still. Isagi loses his entire arsenal of what makes his shooting technique good. You could put a ton of other blue lockers there, and a lot of them would be able to take a standing shot as good as Isagi does.
I would understand that argument from if Isagi sets himself. Yeah, I've not seen Isagi score a goal from setting himself, but I've not seen Isagi take a shot from stationary either, and neither have you.
Yeah, but that's the argument, is that Isagi only trains in volley shots, so when you put him at the ball sitting there, he's pretty much average against the rest of the stationary ball scorers in Blue Lock. Like,
right, listen.
Take a shot with a stationary ball because the ball's always moving.
Like, Isagi would be around the same tier as Bachara, because their shooting technique is average.
But that's my argument. We've not seen Isagi shoot a stationary ball. We've seen Reo take a stationary free kick shot, and he didn't score that either.
Well, that was first selection where kind of everybody.
Okay, this is my point. You're arguing things, right? I'm telling you, we've not seen the feats, and that's my argument against it, and you're arguing against that. I'm saying the reason why I can't put Reo there is because I've seen Isagi score more goals than Reo.
But he's done them under the context of this one thing. I can't. Okay,
fine,
can you say? Let me ask you. Can you say Isagi could hit outside spin shots like outside spin shots? Can you say he can do that? We haven't seen him do it, so you have to say no because he's never trained to do that.
But this is the thing, right? We've not seen Reo train to take penalties, and we've not seen Isagi train to take penalties. We've not seen Reo take a penalty.
But you're dumbing it down, like they haven't seen you take penalties.
No, but this is my point. My point is, how can you argue against me when I tell you the reason why I'm not putting him there is because I've not seen him do it?
Because I can argue a point.
Then your argument against me is that we've not seen him do it either.
Because I'm arguing against what we've seen versus you're arguing what we haven't. You're saying because we haven't seen this, you can't scale it. I'm saying because we have seen this, we can scale it against this.
But I've seen Isagi score bags of goals. You haven't
using a direct shot.
But you've not seen Reo score bags of goals. That's the difference.
But you have to see where the goal, how the goals are scored. That's like saying.
You say that. You say that, but we've not seen Reo score a goal from stationary either. So that's an equalizer there already.
But I'm not saying but I'm not using the argument. I'm using the argument for Isagi because he's only taking shots doing volleys, right?
Right.
The argument I'm making for Reo is not the fact of using volleys, it's the fact that Reo has a wider arsenal of different shooting techniques he can use.
Cool, but we don't know if one of them is stationary shots.
Yukimiya, Kunigami, Bado, Green Stravella. Green Stravella is a stationary shot. Green Stravella is a stationary shot.
It's not stationary, bro. It's set.
I will
moving at that point.
No, I will. Do you want me to give you the panel for Green doing his Stravella?
We seen it. He literally moves it to the side to set it and then takes the shot.
No, that's not. Look at the general chat. Here we go. Here is Rain against Aiku. He has the ball, right? He goes to shoot, then he stops. The ball drops, then he moves himself over. Yes, he moves himself over. Yes, he moves himself over. But in the game, when you're doing the penalty shot, you can stand however the fuck you want. You can make your approach however you want. If Rain has the ball set to the right, where he goes to do the Trivella shot to begin with,
he sets
right?
It, yeah.
Rao can do an approach from the same way. Okay, he doesn't need to set the ball because the ball's already set for him. So he just needs to take the shot, which he can do.
Right, but again, like I said, we've seen Rayo take a stationary shot.
But you're using the argument of like, oh, we're going first selection, right? I'm talking currently.
Why does the selection matter? I'm saying
it does matter because they got drastically. Okay,
so
where
now
are you? Okay. Am I brain damaged or something? Am I missing a point?
So now we're gonna make up imaginary feats.
What have I said that's imaginary?
Because you're saying we can't use Rayo's shot in the first selection now, but then what can I use? Because
current character feats
wasn't a stationary shot. First of all, so what can I use now then? If I can't use the one
you're trying to
replicate.
Here's the thing: you're trying to replicate the specific circumstances of like the stationary shot.
No,
under the context that it's different in the.
I'm not. Your argument is that Isagi can't hit stationary shots. That's your argument.
I'm saying he can, but he's incredibly average to the point where I wouldn't want him as a PK taker.
Right, but then you don't know if Rayo's any better though.
I do because Rayo has a bigger bag to shoot from.
But how do you know that in his bag is stationary shots?
Because the characters he's copying of take shots that can be made from a stationary position.
We've not seen those characters take penalties either. Only Rin has taken.
I've seen Bado take a stationary shot. I've seen Rin take a stationary shot.
But has Rayo?
But he's copying them.
Okay, he's copying them, but has he seen them take the stationary shot?
Yes!
Bro, that's assumptions, bro. You can't say that.
I will give you the point. Rayo, in order to copy players, he needs to review footage. Therefore, in order to copy players, he needs to review the footage of doing so. Going to when Rayo has his training to become the master copy, he's given an SD card of the players and their stuff to copy.
On that SD card, so we're making assumptions again.
But we know it's okay. But we're making assumptions under reasonable speculation. It's not unreasonable to say that the. No, you're not.
Your speculation.
Okay,
is that
Dedu, OP. Where do you stand?
Your speculation.
Who are you standing with?
No.
Who are
Your
you standing with on
speculation
this?
is that maybe in those footage that there are stationary shots. Mine is maybe in those footage there aren't stationary shots. We're both in the same position.
But it's not a stationary shot that's the concern. It's the technique he's using. That's what puts him above.
But
that's what he puts him above
we
Isagi.
know that Isagi also has technique.
He has technique only doing volleys. Only ever doing volleys.
if we're gonna assume, right? So this is my thing.
Okay, a stationary shot. I'm saying, okay, a stationary shot, right, is a ball that's set up for you that you take a shot from, right? In Blue Lock, Kunigami, Bato, Green, Yukimiya, they take shots that they set themselves up for.
No, we call it dead balls. So when I'm talking stationary shot,
but can I ask you how is a dead ball, meaning a ball that's completely stationary, right? That's sitting there, and you can approach any way you want to take the shot. How is that different than you setting yourself up for a shot that you want to take?
Because when you set yourself up, the ball is still normally moving when you take the shot,
but not for range Travella there. But even then, it's still a matter of the ball might be moving, but the ball's moving in the way that you're directing it to set it up for the shot itself. The ball, therefore, is already set up, and you're positioning yourself to set yourself up for that. You're setting yourself up for both situations.
It's like Kaiser's Magnus shot. If Kaiser set himself up to hit the Magnus, he still wouldn't get the same accuracy as he would from a dead ball.
Yes, but because the Magnus is a different weapon. The Magnus was literally something that he's never been able to perfect.
I'm just using the mechanism to illustrate.
But it's a different situation because you're going off of a weapon that 100% has to be dead ball versus weapons that don't have to be dead ball.
But the situation of a penalty is a complete dead ball.
Yes, so but that doesn't disregard the fact that these balls.
The mechanism.
So are you telling me right now you don't think Kunigami, Bato, Rin, Yukimiya, none of those characters can score goals because it's a dead ball and they haven't been seen taking a dead ball? That's the argument you're making. That's the argument you're trying to make.
I think all of them can. I think Isagi can as well.
Dedu, OP, we've been ranting. Where do you stand? I need to know if I'm brain damaged.
No, for me, it's completely just. I agree with you on this from my perspective.
Dedu?
Which bit do you agree with?
I'm just here for the laughs. I gave
but where's your thought? Where do you stand on this?
Which bit do you agree with? What do you mean?
I agree with looking at what players train for combined with what they've shown. If I have a player who only scores close to the net and
he doesn't score close to the net.
I wasn't only Isagi. I wasn't only referring to Isagi there.
Most of Isagi's shots are on the edge of the box, by the way. They're not close to the net.
No, I know. I was referring to Bachira there.
Oh, right. Okay.
Using Bachira as well. Like if I'm looking at a player who either scores close to the net or now looking at Isagi, a player who only scores off volleys, I would not use those players to perform a skill that they do not train in or specialize in.
But we don't know that Rayo trains in that either.
Rayo trains in everything.
We don't know.
Rayo's an all-rounder.
The actual fact is, we don't know if any of those blue lockers train in that.
Okay, but that's a horrible. There's a term for that where just because we don't see it means it doesn't happen. That's the argument
but this
you're
is what
making.
I'm going by. I'm only going by shown feats. You're going by imagination.
No, I'm going off of reasonable speculation, given evidence we have exists. Yeah, reasonable speculation based on evidence we have.
Okay, you're going by reasonable speculation, and I'm going by actual seen feats.
Reasonable speculation can be done through deduction of evidence we have.
Yeah. That's fine, but we're going by different things.
If I see someone holding a knife, and I see a dead body with a knife wound, and I see a trail of blood leading to them, can I speculate that they stabbed them? Even though I didn't see it, can I speculate that they stabbed them because they're holding a knife, a blood trail leads to them, and there's a stab wound?
You can speculate, but you might still be wrong.
But there's a better case to make that I'm right than I'm wrong, and you can't say, "Oh, there's a 99."
Yeah, but you might still be wrong. Whereas I say
vaccines,
I've not
99.
Seen it, whereas my point is because I've not seen it, I can't make the speculation.
Okay, but
that's
what about
between our stances?
You have hand sanitizers known to kill 99% of germs. Are you not gonna use it because that 1% that it doesn't kill? No, you're gonna use it because the evidence says 99.9% of that.
What you said before, what you said before was perfect. You saw a guy, you saw the trail of blood, you saw a guy with a knife, right? you can speculate that he might have stabbed the person, but you might still be wrong. Whereas me, I'm going by, I'm not going to speculate because I might be wrong. So I'm only going to go by what I actually know. So if I've not seen it, I can't say that he has. So that's the difference between our stances.
Okay, I understand that, but there's reasonable speculation you can make,
I'm not
which
saying
isn't wrong to do.
Speculation is wrong. Just how you can't say that I'm wrong when I'm saying I can only go by what has been shown.
Okay, Dedu, I need your opinion. I need to know, because here's the thing. Here's where, because this is the confusion that I'm seeing presented. You have to have it 100% stated.
No,
right?
Has to be stated or seen. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes argument.
I'm not, but that's not to say your speculation is wrong, because you might be right in your speculation, but it's not being shown.
Okay,
So,
but
so neither of us can really win at this point.
Yeah, that's the exact thing. There's no middle ground to settle on. If that's the case,
exactly, but my stance
is
the only one that actually has factual evidence.
No, it doesn't.
No, both sides have factual evidence. It's how you interpret the evidence that's different.
Okay. Hold on. Let me ask. Who is a better? Who would be? Okay. Because I'm making the argument that because Isagi has only ever been seen training to do volleys, that when you put him in the stationary, a dead ball position, right, he's going to have a worse time as he's going to be an average. But he's going to have an average, because we haven't seen anyone take PKs.
There you go.
The whole what if is speculation.
So you're
it's under
that,
wait,
and I'm
so
speculating.
The whole what if is speculation.
Not seen it.
Wait, no. Right.
That's like saying Igaguri is as good as Isagi.
As Rin as a dead ball, or as Kunigami at a penalty. Since we've seen nobody take penalties, Igaguri is just as good as a penalty shooter as Kunigami.
In arguments like this, where it's what if and speculative points.
If that's your point, if you say that, right, you can't neither be wrong. You can't be wrong in.
You can make an argument, an evidence-based argument.
You can't be wrong in stating that though, because it's truth. What he stated is just a truth.
Yeah, but you're nitpicking. You're nitpicking the fact that you're nitpicking that 0.1% of the germs you don't kill. That's what you're nitpicking here. That's what you're going at. You are, because in a realm of speculation, within this speculation, there is a right and there is a wrong.
Yeah, but you can't know if you're right or wrong because you're speculating.
Yes, you can by observing previous evidence.
You can't.
Okay, I can say that Rin would be a better penalty kick taker than Igaguri, because Rin is regarded as one of the best shooters in Blue Lock and has a huge bag of arsenals for his shooting. He has power shots, he has curve shots, and he has outside spin shots. Igaguri has not been shown to have any kind of shooting technique that surpasses that kind of ability. Therefore, I can say that Rin would be a better free kick taker.
You can say that, and there's nothing wrong with saying that. It's still a speculation at the end of the day.
But you're trying to be like, oh, just because it's speculating. But that's a reasonable argument. Therefore, it's the more correct one to make.
No, it's not. No.
Brother, oh my God. I'm going to have a fucking stroke.
But doesn't mean it's the correct one to make. You can have a reasonable argument and still be wrong. You do know that.
Yes, you can't. But in the regards to this, speculative, but it's all speculation, because the topic is speculation. You can say a right for the speculation or a wrong for the speculation.
The topic isn't speculation. The topic is who.
What gives Isagi the edge?
The topic is who do you think should take the penalty, Rin or
and this is a stronger argument versus this. That's
Rin
if I present you an argument using factual data and evidence from websites that are credibly sourced, and you just use opinions, it is just a speculated point. It is an argumentative point. There is no right or wrong because it's your opinion, but that still doesn't change the fact that one is more backed up and one is not.
Opinions can still be right or wrong, right? Speculation,
but it's your opinion. It's your opinion on a topic. If I provide factual evidence to say one point, and you just use religion or you use
in my book as well. Yeah,
no, you're not.
What
gives Isagi the edge over Reo? What gives Isagi the edge over Reo? What have we seen from Isagi? What have we seen?
I've seen Isagi score more goals
Okay, but you have to look at the context in where he's scoring the goals.
But that's the edge that I'm giving.
The edge you're giving, but what's the context for the goals?
He's scoring goals in tough situations.
So is Shido.
And he's also scoring goals in clutch situations.
Okay, let me say this. Shido in the PXG game, his and Charles's chemical reaction was stated by Noah if they did not do anything, Shido would have ended the game.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Does that mean that Shido's Dragon Header goal is by far more impressive than anything else than Isagi's done?
But
because no, it was never stated after Isagi's PXG goal that if they didn't do something about Isagi, they were going to lose. Shido 100% from Noah, the best striker in the world. He said if we don't do anything to them, then they're winning. Then they are winning the game.
Yeah.
That was never stated for Isagi or anything relative. Therefore, does that mean that Shido's goal surpasses anything more than what Isagi's done?
Because it's not about Shido's goals. It's about the team being better than theirs.
So it depends on the context then. So it does depend on the context.
Yeah.
So then what's the... So there's the context for Isagi scoring his goals that matter.
But I never denied that. You're acting like I denied it. I never denied it.
I'm gonna have a fucking stroke.
I never denied it. Bro, at this point, neither of us can be right. Because we've never seen either of them take a penalty.
Where is Lexio when I need him? Where is
We've
Lexio?
never seen either of them take a penalty. So neither of us can be right. And no one that you can throw in can actually be right.
Hold on 1 second.
Appeal to authority currently happening. God, you two are a married couple, I swear down.
the only way anyone can be right in this argument,
more than my parents.
The only way anyone can be right in this argument is to actually show either Isagi or Reo scoring a penalty. That's literally the only way.
Ready? Reasonable conclusion. Penalties are easy. If you miss them, you're ass. Therefore, both players are not ass, and they can both score penalties.
I think they both score it, but I'm picking Isagi because I've seen him score more goals. Simple as that.
Well, but he scored volley goals.
Well, oh my!
Okay, but
Reo has a bigger. But he scored volley goals. His one technique that he's refined.
Hold on. Ladies, chill.
But
I haven't seen Isagi score a dead ball either.
Exactly. So that's an equalizer. So now we're equal. What is the next bit that you're gonna go for? You're gonna go for he's got a bigger arsenal of shots, right? And I'm gonna go for but this one's got more goals. So,
if you put Isagi as the figurehead, like he was on Bayern Munich, he's scoring 4 goals. Reo scored a goal, not being the figurehead. If you give him support, he could definitely score as many goals. Yeah, but again, speculation.
Isagi was never the figurehead.
Isagi was one of the main figureheads in Manshine City. He was a figurehead. In Manshine City, he was regarded as a figurehead.
No, he had to force himself. Oh my days, no.
I will read you Noah Noah's direct. I will read you Noah Noah's direct words.
Let's not do that.
I will read Noah Noah's
The only person on Isagi's side at Manshine City was Corona Ranze and Gagamaru.
Okay. Extremely rational style uses Kaiser as the team's finisher. Second, blue lock style. Chemical reactions means of all-out egoism. And you have Isagi and Kunigami as one side. Kaiser, Ness, and Grimm as the other side. Right? Isagi is a figurehead of the blue lock system. That's who he is.
A system that how many players did he have on his side at that point?
Hello.
Still doesn't. It's okay, Lexio. We are having a huge debate, and I need rationality here. Raito and I are having a debate.
You can't call Lexio for rationality.
Yes. Well, Dinner's not helping. No offense, Dinner. No offense. You're here for the laughs.
Yep.
I want to clarify. I personally want to say, of all of the people here, I feel like I'm the most rational because
right now, yes.
Whilst I can sometimes be like, "Hey, Nana, say," I can also sometimes be like, "I'm just way too." Like I can be rational because I acknowledge my bias so much.
Lexio, here's the debate. I will explain it. And Raito, chime in if I'm wrong on this, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're having a debate. One of the questions, so the earlier context is that I said, why don't we do this? Let's have a bet. This Saturday, let's each put up our Blue Lock U20 World Cup bingo cards, where we give a bingo card list, 25 slots of things we think will happen in the U20 World Cup.
What's going on here? Who's Lexi rival?
Yo, what up?
Oh.
But so you're here. This will be interesting. But yeah, on Saturday, we have the bingo. We have the bingo.
What time?
What the fuck? No, listen. Fuck, I have to start over now. This Saturday, we made a bet. Saturday, we are revealing to everyone, we are making a Blue Lock U20 World Cup bingo chart. Each of us individually will make one. We're going to present it. Whoever gets a bingo on their chart first wins $10. Everyone puts in $10 of their current currency into a pot. The winner of whoever gets the bingo gets that at the end of the World Cup. Or whoever gets that whoever gets that as they win when they get the bingo.
Plot twist: nobody gets the bingo.
One of the then no one gets the money, right? Then that's
what do you do with it?
You keep your money. I put in $10. No one wins. I just get my $10 back.
Give it to charity or something.
Okay, fine. We'll do that. We'll all go towards our charity. We'll put the money towards the charity. Okay. One of the people said for one of their things, right? He said Isagi would miss a penalty. And I said Isagi would be horrible at being a penalty kick taker in relation to the other goal scorers we have in Blue Lock. And I said I would rather have Reo over Isagi. Raito would rather have Isagi as a penalty kick taker. I would rather have Reo. And the debate is happening between who would be better at taking penalty kicks. I say Reo. Raito says Isagi. Suki, Lexio?
I think this debate is very
Are we choosing who's going to be the penalty taker?
No, who would be a better one? Who would be a better penalty? Who would be
Reo easily. The hell?
Isagi would be a great penalty taker because he's got his direct shot and everything. However, the direct shot is something that can be copied by the likes of Reo, as well as many other shooting weapons, which gives Reo a more varied arsenal. So,
well, here's the thing: the direct shot isn't that good, though. The direct shot isn't that good because the direct shot only works from a volley thing. It only works from a volley. That's why the direct shot's so good. Is because Isagi predicts the future and takes the shots so no one can catch up to it. That's what a direct shot is.
Yeah, no. What I was saying though is, I can see why people say Isagi might be the best because
no one's saying the best.
He's just A. Just between Isagi and Reo, who would be a better one of those two characters? Who would be a better penalty?
Reo, clearing out Reo. There's no debate. It's Reo.
Raito, what smoke were you cracking,
bro?
What smoke were you cracking for this?
So my argument is right. I've not seen Reo score a penalty, and I've not seen Isagi score a penalty. But I have seen Isagi score more goals than Reo, and I've seen Reo miss a dead ball situation, which was the free kick that he didn't score in the first selection.
The first selection is your evidence right now.
Isagi would have scored. Isagi's not scoring a free kick, bro.
Unless Isagi also got. Can I also tell you, Isagi got stopped from a dead ball situation? By the way, in the first selection, you want to use evidence there? Isagi got stopped from a dead ball situation.
I want to clarify, Raito.
What are we going to talk about?
Wait, which bit? Go, yeah.
No, Raito, real quick. Have you ever seen anyone in Blue Lock score a penalty?
No. Exactly, and that's my point.
He's trying to use the fact that we haven't seen anyone take it as evidence because, well, you could still be wrong, but I have a better case for I'm right. I have a better argument.
No, I said it's an equalizer. So the fact that we've not seen.
I want to make a definitive point.
So the fact that we've not seen.
Wait, Raito, if someone can make a penalty with a weapon that isn't purely based on something innate that they were born with, Reo can replicate it. Therefore, Reo can also make the penalty. We've never seen Isagi make a penalty. We've never seen Reo make a penalty. But we know penalties have been made based around skills, and Reo can imitate the skills. Therefore, we know Reo has a 99% chance to make a shot as long as that shot has been used to make a penalty before. Because it's the 99% the copy. Whereas Isagi has zero evidence for it. Reo has.
Arrow said something about Reo copying Noah's. I don't know if was it a gaming simulation?
Yeah, he was copying a gaming simulation. But even then, that's not the point. The point I was making was even if you want to argue that Isagi is better with direct shots, I would say, which he's not, which in that situation, direct shot means nothing. I would say that because Reo has the ability to copy numerous different people to 99% with their shooting techniques, examples, sword screw, gyro shot, range curve shot, range trivela shot. Those are just 4 that I can name that he can copy.
None of which have gone in.
Okay. Okay, listen.
No, not even sword screw.
Listen, right? The fact that Reo can copy those weapons would make him a more deadly threat as someone coming up to take a penalty kick, because you do not know what he is going to do. That era of mystery of what is he going to shoot with is more scary than Isagi, who comes up with average dead ball controlled shot.
But we don't know if it's average dead ball controlled shot.
What is a controlled shot? Is a bullet.
Isagi has 1 breath.
Because we've not seen him take. Okay, but a good penalty taker doesn't need to have many different penalties.
But Isagi's only shooting weapon is a volley. That's
okay.
It.
I have a question. Raito, do you believe Kaiser or Isagi would be better
Kaiser,
at taking
and
the penalty?
could literally copy 99%.
I think Kaiser would be better, of course.
Reo can copy the technique of the Kaiser impact. He won't have
How do we know that? How do we know that?
Because of how the weapon works.
Talented learner technique.
Yeah, no, he doesn't have the shot swing.
Because we have not seen him copy a lot of things. Does not mean he cannot do it.
Why are we making it?
Okay, Raito. Question.
Because he has the capability to do so.
My issue is all you guys are basing it on head cannons. You're basing
we're basing it on evidence that characters have that justifies our argument.
It's not been done though.
That doesn't mean anything.
Okay. No, it should.
Okay. Wait.
No, it doesn't.
It should.
Everyone, calm down.
No, it doesn't.
Guys, calm down. I'm gonna make some statements.
Yes,
I'm gonna make some statements. Reo, we know, can copy any physical skill technique that isn't solely based on being born with special talents, such as specific muscles or double jointedness or stuff that he doesn't have to be born with. He can copy. So whilst he can't copy Kaiser's insanely quick natural shot swing, he can copy everything else about the Kaiser impact. How do we know this? Because the rest of the Kaiser impact is just Kaiser using different footballing techniques. How do we know Reo can copy this? Because it's been stated Reo is
I'm not even arguing that. I know
right. Let's
know you can do all that, but all I'm saying is you using that as an argument. That's based on speculation.
We're taking turns.
Raito, you're the oldest person in the room. Calm the f down.
What do you mean? I am calm.
Raito, I want to clarify. It's not been shown that he can do it.
I know, exactly. And that's my point exactly.
No. But your point's wrong, because it's been stated that he can copy the weapons of people who use skills. The Kaiser Magnus is just a combination of skills.
Cool.
Therefore, not the Kaiser Magnus, just the Kaiser Impact, sorry.
Cool.
Therefore, he can copy the Kaiser Impact.
Cool. That's a speculation still.
It's not!
Oh my days. How is it not?
Chris Prince said Reo can copy the skills of most players in the NEL. The few he can't copy are those who were born with natural talents most humans can't achieve on their own. Nothing about Kaiser's impact is a natural talent.
Aside from the swing speed, but he does stuff to make his swing speed faster.
The swing speed, you can do plenty of things to make your swing speed faster. Whilst he will never reach the exact same swing speed, he will reach a swing speed fast enough to still effectively use a toned down version of the Kaiser impact.
That's nice for Reo. That's nice for Reo.
Okay, but you're okay.
But why is Isagi missing? Tell me that. Why is Isagi missing these penalties?
Because it's more predictable to see what he's gonna do.
No. Raito, we never said Isagi was missing. We just said
I'm saying that Reo was better.
Reo has a better chance.
I said there's a bigger chance that Isagi would miss. I said there's a bigger chance Isagi would miss and he would score.
I think this is a comparison of Isagi has a 92% chance to score, Reo has a 94. That's literally it. They're both not gonna miss, but realistically, who's gonna more consistently hit that shot? It's gonna be Reo.
But my argument to that is, I've seen Reo miss, but I've seen
Isagi miss.
Yeah,
okay, Raito.
I've seen
Raito,
Isagi miss one shot.
Okay, I want to clarify. No,
how many shots have you seen Reo miss?
I want to clarify.
Reo doesn't even shoot that much.
3 or 4.
We've seen
current Reo.
Wait.
Current Reo.
Can I clarify? Technically,
we're going by the archive
know.
misses. Why are we doing current?
Wait,
because this is current characters. You can't say
but then
first selection.
How far can I go back then? How far can I
NEL. NEL late U20 best.
Stop talking over me.
God,
okay,
you guys need to learn how to take turns.
When you look at it, if you are going with Raito's decision to go as far back, we know Isagi has missed more than Reo because we know Isagi struggled relatively with the 100 goals. Reo came out before Isagi, and we saw Reo still in the room when Isagi entered it. Therefore, Isagi went into the 100 goals before Reo, meaning he started before Reo. Reo came out before him, meaning
that
Reo
actually
did it
doesn't
quicker.
necessarily that actually doesn't
yes, it does. That means Reo did it more efficiently than Isagi.
But Reo might have been doing different drills.
Might have. Remember,
yeah, exactly.
might have.
But this is what I'm saying. It's all speculation at this point. That's my argument. It's
no, but you're using but you're creating it off of evidence we have. If one person goes in somewhere first, comes out after someone who went in after them, the person who went in after them but finished earlier, finished the challenge first. They finished it quicker. That's non-debatable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you cannot debate that.
Yeah.
So if Isagi goes into the 100 goals challenge first, comes out after Reo, despite going in before Reo finished the 100 goals challenge faster than Isagi, and therefore completed it easier, and either had better shooting than Isagi to where he could finish it faster, or just had less difficulty with it than Isagi. Because how else do you explain him getting out of the challenge first, despite going in later? Give me an answer.
He goes first for his team too, so Reo doesn't even go first for his team, unlike Isagi. Cooked.
Yeah.
God, Hiyori versus.
And they did say go in one at a time, so there had to have been a period of time before Reo could go in, right? Like, assuming it was Rain, then it was Isagi, and then Nagi. Assuming Reo went right after, let's assume that there was still only maybe a minute difference. Reo came out, I'm pretty sure, 7 players before Isagi did. I'm pretty sure Reo was 8 and he was 15.
Reo was 10.
Reo was 10, so 5 players.
I want to clarify, we know that Nagi went in before Reo and Isagi, and Isagi was actually the person directly after Nagi to go in. And Nagi was the first member of Team Z, and then Isagi came out after Reo.
Alrighty,
that means by you can't say speculation, because that's how shit works. If I do something faster than you,
we don't know what the goals were.
It was 100 goals.
How about we just settle it by saying they'd probably both score their penalty?
No, but it's just a matter of who would be a better penalty kicker. Who's a better penalty taker.
And then, okay, ready?
It's not even who's better.
We can even it out by saying, how about we give Reo earlier penalties for extra unpredictability, but we give Isagi the last penalty for plot armor, so now they're equal. How about we settle that?
But then that would still make Reo the better one, because Isagi's being pushed by the fact of being the main character.
I want to clarify, I have just went through episode Nagi in the chapter where they go to do the 100 goals, and it is confirmed that every single player had to score 100 goals. We see Ikaguri diving for a header.
It's not confirmed how.
But it's still a matter of, that means Reo had an easier time with the 100 goals challenge. You can't say Reo had an easier 100 goals challenge, because if it was scaled off of that, if it was scaled off of difficulty, Reo would have had a more difficult time because it was a higher ranked player. So he had a harder time, went in after, and still finished earlier.
Okay, so but what does that prove now?
What the fuck? If I have a harder test, if I start a test after you and I finish it first, but my test was high school level and yours was elementary school level, that means mine was significantly more difficult than yours, and I still finished first.
Hold on. Okay.
Yeah, there you go on.
Basically, in simple terms, since Reo finished his challenge quicker, it implies that Reo's ability to goal score is more consistent and effective.
Okay.
See? Nice.
Because I want to clarify, Ego directly stated this was to ensure that their weapons were performing at their weapons peak for goal scoring. Therefore, whatever the challenge is, it is both to help them develop and also to guarantee they can score the goals as consistently as possible.
Yeah, based
for
on
Rayo to go in after Isagi when they both have a 100 goals that sticks to their weapon, back when Rayo didn't really have a weapon at all, because at this point he hadn't developed his copying ability. He was just an all-rounder. So realistically, Rayo's 100 goals would have literally just been average penalties, because he was just an all-round player.
Wait,
yeah. Also, here, specific. Sorry.
When you look at this logically, because Isagi got passes specifically so he could make direct shots. Nagi got passes for him to trap and then shoot with. Therefore, if you were looking at a player like Reo, who at this time, all he was an all-round player, he would get shots that were just average. He would literally just get the most difficult to make shots, but the easiest passes to him to make it with. Then you've got to factor in other players. Like, we know for a fact, Igoguri had to dive for his because he had headers. Corona had to quickly turn on an axis because we see him turning and kicking during the episode Nagi. It's all to do with what weapons they have. Reo, whose weapon
it's all
is
to do with their weapons.
Being overall good, would just have buttfuck like penalties to take. It would be nothing special. Therefore, he's had more training at fucking nothing special penalties. And then you've got You've got to factor in how we see.
Wait,
I
you
want
say
to clarify.
he's had more training at penalties?
Yes,
and more controlled standard shots.
Reynolds would have directly just been closer to normal penalties than Isagi's because of what Reo's skill set was at the time.
Yeah. Also, if we're going off a direct shot, how would Ego know that Isagi would be good at direct shots? Are we assuming that he was watching the footage, right?
Yeah, he would have seen.
So then, doesn't it make sense that he would have way more controlled shots than Isagi? Because when you rewatch the footage, Reo took the free kicks for his team. No one else did. So wouldn't it make more sense to give him more controlled dead ball shots?
Maybe, but that's a speculation. We don't.
No, but it makes sense. You're using the argument. Well, it wasn't shown. You can't say that. When you're making an argument,
if dead ball was part of the 100-goal challenge.
But we're making a speculation. But that's the point. This entire argument is a speculation. So every speculation is fair game.
I have a way. I have a way to end this right here, right now.
If you want to go by speculation,
no, I'm not going to this motherfucker. Admits it.
I'm on BP boys.
If you want to go by speculation, nobody can.
Lexio.
Did we see Sai with his curve shot score off of? It was a corner, correct?
No. It was pushed to.
Sorry, Rin scored in the second selection off of a corner with his curve shot, correct?
Yeah, Olympico.
We have also seen fucking Reo copy that curve shot.
When?
We know Reo can mimic a curve shot that has happened.
I'm blanking. When did he do that?
So, Sofian,
in the Manshine game,
that was the Trivela, not the.
One sec.
Let me just answer this. He did the Trivela.
Let me just answer this. We're not answering who's the better striker, right? I think we would all agree that Isagi's the better striker.
Yeah, I would agree.
But we're talking about who would we prefer? Who would we prefer to take a penalty out of Isagi and Reo. That's what the
So wait. My thing is though, do you think Isagi's standard controlled shooting ability far outclasses Reo's diverse arsenal when it comes to shooting?
No, I don't think it far outclasses it. No.
Okay.
Then
I'm gonna ask this, Raito.
Why would you want Isagi to be the penalty taker?
Who would you want to take the shot? I would
Raito,
pick
I have a
Isagi
question.
because I've seen Isagi score more goals. That's always been
Raito,
my
I have a question.
Yeah, but it's the situation of Isagi's getting a world-class assist, though. That's what he's getting.
I'm gonna ask my question, and it should be able to settle this if Raito just answers it honestly. Raito, which characters who are in Blue Lock or the Japan U20 team, just the NEL players in general, which characters are you saying would be better to take penalties than Isagi?
There's lots, bro. There's Reo,
Name them.
Kunigami,
You said Reo.
Oh, my bad. I mean Rin, not Reo. I mean Rin, not Reo.
You little rage baiter. You little rage baiter.
Reo, but Rin,
because he is.
Kunigami, Baro.
Okay. Wait. Why Rin?
Because he's got great shooting technique, and I've seen him score dead balls.
And we've seen Reo is able to copy the shooting technique of Rin. That has been shown. Therefore, Reo is better than Isagi as well.
He's not scored from it, so I don't think he's any.
But he's scored shooting against Gagamaru. Best keeper in the series.
What difference
best keeper.
This guy became a keeper that game.
Baro has failed a shot against Gagamaru. Are you saying Baro's worse than Isagi?
Became a keeper the game before.
Okay, wait, hold on. Can I ask you? Right? Reo in against Barcha. Is his shooting better or worse than Kunigami at the start of the NEL?
Against Barcha.
So Manshine final game versus Kunigami first game. Worse or better? Is Kunigami's shooting better than Reo's?
Reo's shooting or Kunigami shooting?
Kunigami shooting. Is Kunigami shooting better than Reo?
Yeah.
At that point.
Reo's, yeah.
It is better. Kunigami got his shot blocked by the Barcha goalkeeper. Reo didn't.
Okay, but it was his weak. It was his ambidextrous shot. It wasn't his.
Yeah. Also, if you look back, Kunigami trained his body to be equal on both sides. I will pull up the panel.
Yeah.
Well, you can't.
So his righty is going to be just as strong as his lefty.
I mean, even in ambidexterity, I don't know if that's actually complete.
That's what Isagi said.
I know, but that's what everyone says.
No, that's what Isagi said about Kunigami specifically.
But here, he's not natural ambidextrous.
All of his physical abilities have skyrocketed. He can shoot solo goals from anywhere. He's become a perfect striker with no weak spots. No weak spots, implying both sides are equally as strong.
Right now.
Wait, let Daddy speak because he was trying to say something.
Just to say, trained ambidexterity can never reach the same physical harmony as natural ambidexterity. That's just
But the difference is that with Kunigami, the reason he was able to become ambidextrous, stated by him, was because of his naturally insane physical ability. Right? It was genetic. That genetic factor is what led him to have that. Sure, you have like Nanase. Are you then implying that like Nanase's is better because he's naturally? No, Kunigami's is. Yeah. Kunigami's ambidexterity is better than Nanase's.
Yeah, if Nanase trained it, he would have better.
Well, Nanase doesn't have the physical abilities. That's what's carrying the ambidexterity. But that's the thing, though, is that his righty thing. If Isagi's saying no weak points, and let's go to Kunigami speaking to Isagi. I think it was 2:13 after his goal in Ubers, where he talked.
I do want to quickly ask: does anyone remember what chapter Reo's stats got revealed?
Yeah, to 175. But let me read you Kunigami saying this. During the wildcard round, I was forced to become ambidextrous, but that only happened to work because of my muscle mass and bone structure. There is no point in you just copying my methods. If you end up building muscles in the wrong place, it'll throw off your body's balance, and there's a high probability that you lose your current level of performance. But you're not thinking about that and just are fixated on getting stronger. That won't get you anywhere, right? But Kunigami, he was able to train his body to where that issue didn't happen for him. His scoring ability did not decrease. His right and left side are almost identically as strong by a slight percentage at best. And again, that's just speculating at best. from the evidence and statements we have, from the feats we have, there is nothing to point out that Kunigami's right leg is any worse than his left. The only reason you could try and make a case to say that his left is stronger is simply the fact that his original ego, which we've been seeing get stoked by his original playstyle and his original desires, gives him an advantage. But even then, in terms of his physical talent, it's equal. He just gets into flow when he's using his original specs. But in terms of his ability to score, right and left leg are the same.
I would like to make a statement. This is going to go solely based on what we have seen, like Raito wants us to.
Mm-hmm.
The last point where both Isagi and Reo's stats were confirmed was the Menshine game, where we saw how good
Isagi's
they were.
Was Ubers, but...
No, where we saw both of them at the same period in time is what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And their stats. So this is the most fair comparison we can make, because there's nowhere else where they have both at the same point in time had their stats revealed. So this is the closest we'll get to a definitive answer. And their shooting, this is what matters for a penalty. I think everyone can agree. Their shooting is what matters the most.
Yeah.
Their shooting is what we have to focus on here. Correct?
Yeah.
Is anyone going to disagree with me there?
I'm fine.
I wasn't listening. I'm reading.
The shooting of Isagi is rated as a 78. The shooting of Reo is rated as an 82.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, based on what we know about both of their stats,
at that point,
Reo's better there at shooting than Isagi.
What we know, though.
At that point.
But you're trying to use first selection evidence.
I want to clarify. Raito, I'm just going off what you said, going based off what we saw. Mm-hmm. Also, I would like to ask again, Raito.
So
how much would you say Isagi has improved his shooting? How many points?
Also, Ubers, last time we saw Isagi's stats score, he and Ryo had the same score. 82 in Ubers.
82. So even if we take Isagi's most modern score, which bear in mind was
updated.
It was 82 versus Reo's in the previous game being the exact same.
Yeah.
So, how many points do you think Isagi's shooting went up from the period of Ubers to the end of the NAL?
I think a lot, because he scored more goals in that period.
Well, don't forget, that 82 is what scored him the goal in Ubers. That's what scored him the goals in Ubers. He wouldn't have just trained up his shooting.
Also, can we talk about this real quick? You said that Kunigami in Barcha was a better shooter. Kunigami in Barcha had an S tier shooting ability, so he was able to. He got his shot blocked by a goalkeeper, despite having at least a 90 in shooting. Reo was able to score using it. Therefore, Ryo's shooting ability has to be comparable to a 90 for Kunigami. At minimum, 90 for Kunigami. Maybe a little bit above, because he would need to score first attempt on that keeper.
Okay.
Kunigami took 2 shots.
I can see the logic behind that.
So therefore, do you say Isagi's shooting? Well, because I'm using the comparability of the evidence to make. You're making a speculation, but we have the evidence to make it reasonable.
Mm-hmm. But I also have Isagi's 2 goals in his last game.
Yes, but you need to understand. But the context and how they score the goals matters, right? Isagi scored a volley, not a controlled on the ground dead ball,
which hard. It's harder to score.
Yeah, but the reason Isagi is such an advanced shooter, the reason why Isagi is so good at his shooting, is because he is great with his volleys, where he can fake people out with his volleys. When you have a controlled ball on the ground, his greatest advantage for his shooting style goes away.
Kaiser himself mentioned the technique that Isagi used to score that final goal.
The final goal, it was still a volley.
Yeah, exactly. But what I'm trying to say is, a volley is a hard goal to score.
Yeah, but that doesn't. Okay, but it's a very different situation. Would you say a volley is harder than a curve shot?
Isagi, a volley's harder than curve shot.
So then you're saying that Isagi should be able to hit curve shots then, because a volley's harder.
He can.
Well, they're different techniques.
He's done it before.
They're different techniques. It's important to know.
Isagi can do that technique as well.
I want to clarify. A volley has nothing to do with a fucking penalty because the ball will be on the fucking floor. If you're skilled at doing volleys,
no one said it does.
Does not matter for penalties.
Lexio, you're going somewhere else. No one said it does.
Hold on. That's just going to spiral. Yeah. So I'm going to stop it there. Basically, so what you need to score a penalty is to be able to put the ball in the back of the net.
Mm-hmm.
I will never see the day when I hear dudes arguing about fucking shooting, bro. But all right, I got it. Keep going.
I mean, the fact that this sounds like the most reasonable point is wild. So, what do you need to do to put the ball in the back of the net? Well, first of all, you're going to need to be able to beat the keeper standing in front of you. You can do that through superior shot power. Mm-hmm. Now, by applying... Oh, hold on. This is my talk time. I'm holding the special piece of paper that lets me talk.
My bad.
By applying Newton's third law and the fact that Isagi could not push Reo off the ball means that Reo can take in more force. Via Newton's first law, he can therefore exert more force, which makes his shots more powerful since it's born from physical exertion. So we can say Reo can have a more powerful shot. He's more built and all that, and also he can presumably imitate the Kaiser impact. Next, we're going to have shooting accuracy. And this can really go either way depending on how high you glaze Reo's copy. But based on pure feats that we've seen, we can say he gets accuracy because he's able to shoot a ball while it's airborne, which does show the ability to conceptualize shooting trajectory.
I'll also say this.
I'm holding the paper.
Reo's goal was a volley. Also.
I know. But from the feats that we've seen, Isagi is more consistent at being able to hit these harder shots when it comes to conceptualizing shooting trajectory and how to shoot to get the ball in the back of the net. Also, he's just a more consistent finisher in general, so it implies more effectiveness with his shooting technique. Okay, so you don't really need to curve for a penalty.
No.
I don't think.
Most people don't curve in a penalty.
So we've got power to Reo and we've got efficiency to Isagi. And now another area to beat the goalkeeper is by being able to outwit them. Mm-hmm. This is primarily done through ones like unpredictability or mind games. Isagi is obviously, I'd say, far better at mind games. He's better at psychologically toying with his opponents. Because it's Slursagi, who is better than Slursagi himself. But Reo has the advantage in unpredictability with his copying. He could use a Kaiser impact, he could use a fucking curve if he wanted to, God knows what. But it's that God knows what that makes Reo so effective, because he has that air of unpredictability. So it comes down to whether you want the efficiency of putting the ball in the back of the net through somebody with a higher goal scoring rate and who scored under more difficult environmental circumstances, such as Isagi, or if you want someone that's able to shoot with a more powerful shot that can, through larger physical exertion, or just general power in general, and as well as the extra added bonus of unpredictability through a 99% imitation. Therefore, verdict, it depends what kind of shooter you want, and also depends on the situation. Because Isagi's mind games and arguably greater composure means that he'd be able to more efficiently score a penalty in more high-stakes, situations, whether it be taking the vital fifth penalty or taking one during the end of a game, which can decide a result. However, if you want somebody to take probably a more casual penalty in the middle of the game or an earlier spot in the penalty shootout, where you just want to beat the keeper to grab yourself a point, then you can argue Reo because of his higher power and unpredictability. Therefore, it comes down to circumstances. There you go.
Thank you for that, Dedu. And I completely agree. And I think before we can put a full stop on it there. But the best point that has been said was from Aero when he said that with Reo being able to score against the Barca goalkeeper over Kunigamin being able to score against him at that point, and the stats. Now that is an argument. When it comes to like the stats, I can't argue with that. So if Reo stats are above Isagi's, then I would have to concede that point. But we don't know what they are right now. Right now, we only know that they are on par. That's as far as we know so far, and we can do all the you know the assumptions and you know the logical assumptions and stuff like that. But I think we won't be able to fully agree just yet because I think we're looking at it from two different standpoints.
Yeah, I've seen, obviously, being in a debating community, I've seen both styles of argumentation, where obviously you've got like Aeros, where it's like a process known as abduction, not like kidnapping, but it stems from a logical reasoning process known as abductive reasoning, which, just like his knife and stabbing analogy, is defined as making the most logical assumption based on an incomplete set of evidence. We have the guy with the knife and the blood trail, so we use abductive reasoning to assume that he is the one who stabbed. However, it's a most likely or a probable rather than a certainty, because it could be that this person picked up the knife and was walking with it for whatever reason. Perhaps they were a witness and they are being manipulated into throwing away the evidence. Or perhaps they arrived later onto the scene and picked up the knife maybe as an attempt to take it out of the body to try and, you know, make attempts to save their life. So it's just based on a probable thing. And Raito's argumentation style follows a considered credible psychological debate tactic known as Hitchens's razor, where it states that something that can be proposed without evidence can be refuted without evidence. For example, that's why you were pushing, because we've seen neither take a penalty. We can't state which one is better at taking penalties. You say because Aero's saying Reo would be better at penalties has no technically tangible evidence because they haven't taken a penalty. You then unknowingly use Hitchens's razor to say that it cannot be true then because there is no tangible evidence. Whereas then Aero would counter by using abductive reasoning, by saying a probable thing based on an incomplete set of evidence to then make a viable solution or conclusion. So, voila. I just said that for basically no reason.
Man. Okay, yeah. That was a wild debate. Good debate though. I quite enjoyed it.
You just gave me my next TikTok.
I'm glad I could inspire, man. I'm glad I could inspire. But yeah, it's a good argument. I think you can go either way. I think most people will lean towards Reo, and towards the end, I sort of was, but I think we leave it there.
Yeah, like I said, it's situational.
Yeah.
Like I think when it comes to just get the ball in the back of the net, I think Reo's unpredictability in power is definitely a deciding factor. But like when it comes to like endgame and having the efficiency and the composure and the plot armor.
That's where I agree. I think in game, if we're talking active play, Isagi all the way. Right? Because Isagi has shown that he is way better under pressure. Right? Because even after Reo scored his goal, right? He was like, I'm sorry, because he didn't mean to do that. He didn't mean to take the shot. He just did it off the reflex.
He did it.
Right? Isagi has way better composure. Right? But the one thing that holds me over for that is that you go for the penalty thing. Isagi's greatest element when it comes to his shooting is the fact that his shooting can be now done with either foot, but the advantage for it being with either foot comes from the fact of it needing to be a volley to throw off the timing. That's what makes this shot so effective. So when you put him in a dead ball, it takes away his greatest advantage, and it kind of just leaves him with whatever base controlled shooting he has, right? Yeah. Well, Reo, on the other hand, you put him in that situation, it's better for him because he doesn't have to stress about active play. He can maintain that composure in the situation because he dictates the timing of everything. He dictates his run-up. He dictates the style of shooting he wants to use. He can dictate the copy. He can decide where exactly he wants to hit without the pressure of someone on him. The elements of taking the penalty shot gives Reo the benefit, in my opinion, because Reo struggles in more active play. While there's more downtime, Reo has better composure, in my opinion. So going into situations, Reo has a bigger kit, and he doesn't lose and Isagi loses his biggest advantage. It's not that Isagi's bad, because I would say Isagi and Reo are relative shooters in active play because of their, Reo has the diversity, Isagi has the quickness and the unpredictability of it, like the quickness to take the shot, and then the left or right. I'd say they're even in that factor. But when you take away, it's the fact that Isagi's nerfed as a penalty kicker, while Reo isn't. And I think because Isagi's nerfed so hard that Reo has that upper hand. Like, Reo is put in a better situation and is slightly buffed, while Isagi is drastically nerfed. So I think nerfed Isagi, Reo is therefore the better penalty kick taker because he's in a penalty kicks are a better situation for Reo as a player. So therefore, I would say that he's better as a penalty kicker than Isagi. That's where I make my case. Situation's better for Reo than Isagi. Isagi loses his biggest strength. Therefore, I would not want Isagi.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm not knocking that. I think it'll be really interesting to see where both their shooting starts are.
I think if Isagi's a shooter, Reo better also be a shooter. If I see a situation where Isagi is one of the penalty kick takers and Reo isn't, I'm confused. If I see Reo as a penalty kick taker, I'm not always going to think Isagi should be as well. You know what I mean?
I do think there are people above both of those guys.
Oh, 100%. Kunigami, Bado, Green. Those three easily. Yeah. Easily those three. Bado has Predator Eye for better precision, and he can. I think Bado has also surprisingly hit opposite corner. Like, he's known for hitting top right. He's taken shots that have curved harder at the last second into the other corner. Like we saw with not in the second selection, we've seen him do stuff like that. Green, Green is best shooter. Green best technical shooter. He's good at power shots, curve shots, outside shot. He can do anything. Right. And then Kunigami, I would argue he's a more powerful shooter than Bado is. So plus he has either leg at almost 100% on either side. So he can go an approach that makes you think he's hitting with his left, and then change it up and hit with his right at the last second, without dropping at any power. So that's where I think it falls in.
Kid Flair, I'm sorry, but you're gonna have to go back. Whole debate.
We were having a debate who's a better penalty kick taker, Reo or Isagi. We had a very long debate that I think lasted about an hour.
And then I solved it in about 2 minutes.
No, you just did something for me that I've been waiting for. I've been wanting to have someone tell me how I argue, right? Because I haven't been able to put it into words. What did you say? It was deductive reasoning? Is that what you called it?
Abductive.
Adductive? Okay, because I just argue the way I think debates should work. If you don't have evidence, you make speculation on evidence you have. Yeah, that's how I just think evidence should work. Because the whole point of speculation is talking about something that hasn't happened yet. So making an assumption based on something we don't have, using evidence to make that, I feel like it's fair. Because that's what theorizing is. You're making a theory based on evidence we have to something that we don't have. So that's just where I that's why I think making speculation is fine if you're using evidence that exists.
Yes, abductive reason.
No, that's just where me and Raito differ.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Funny thing about
that was good.